is?
Do I know what time it is?
Yeah,
Do I know what time it is?
Yeah, what time is it?
I think it's time for Collaboration Radio. Time to get on the mic and... I lost my rhyme very quickly.
You lost your rhyme, but I got a lime. Get it right.
Oh, God.
I got dad rhymes. I got sad rhymes. I got bad rhymes.
Wow,
I do no kind.
Oh!
But I drop dimes.
Dang!
Off the dome.
What? So,
Geodesic
now
in the flow.
I can't co-sign you saying you drop dimes. Like that's very snitchish. It's very snitchish. You know we don't tell anything here in Chicago.
Oh, I was talking about $10 bills. I dropped those.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Collaboration Radio. Aren't we all blessed to be here together? Saturday, February 10th, 2024, right at the intersection of art, activism, and social change. That was the sound of DJ Lady D that I was butchering bad rhymes to, stealing Carla's normally opening flow.
My flow fell apart. Thank you all for joining us at Collaboration Radio, WCPT, 820 AM, Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, and also streaming live on Facebook. I hope you can see me. Sometimes there's a glove in the way. It covers my face. I don't know. I'm not watching. You can see us live on Facebook and WCPT.com or anywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere else digital stuff comes up. I am Carla Stillwell.
And I'm Anthony Mosley. And this is my radio voice.
Oh, hey, Anthony Mosley, how was your week? What's going on at Collaboration? Because I feel like new things are happening every day.
There was a lot of manifestations happening this week, and of course we're still tickling a big announcement.
Oh, I felt it.
So we're working towards the big announcement. We also are gearing up for the premiere screening of our feature film, Trial in the Delta, The Murder of Emmett Till, filmed at the DuSable Museum with 8 cameras, of the closing performance of our immersive stage play, Excavating the Missing Trial Transcript of the State of Mississippi versus the Men Who Killed Emmett Till. That'll be at Wayfarer Theaters Thursday, February 22nd at 7 o'clock. There are some tickets put aside for the general public to come join the cast and the crew and me and you, Carla Stillwell.
Yes, I will be there.
You'll be getting crucial, won't you?
I will be there guiding our crucial conversation. We'll be talking about the piece, the implications of the piece on history, and how the piece resonates with you, the person that views it in the room, in the moment.
So this is a once-in-a-lifetime unique thing, because this is not something that is going to be released soon. For various reasons, we're going to be holding it off for a little while. But we do want to share it with the people that made it and celebrate that. And we have some tickets available to join us. So go to wayfarertheaters.com and check that out. We also have auditions. Let me show this to the video. That's the great poster for that. And by the way, if you didn't know, Carla and I and Collaboration and our collaborators all won Emmys in 2022 and 2023.
Two Emmys.
For the Trial in the Delta, and my second Emmy has come in the mail.
See, I haven't gotten mine yet.
Did you ordered yours?
No, not yet.
Oh, you better.
I gotta get mine. I can hear me.
I did order mine, and I got the one for Collaboration, and they're in my home. And I'm just waiting until I have clothes other than sweatpants on, or when I'm running out the door to go somewhere, and like I showered and got dressed today, so that I could take a moment and make a little video of opening them and welcoming them into the house.
So you are in a 4 Emmy household right now.
Yes, I have my 2 Emmys, and then I am. Collaboration is currently operating out of my house, and by my house I mean Sandra Delgado, her house, and until we have this big announcement, which will be about a new house. I have the Collaboration Emmys.
Giggles.
And then also, it's audition season for The Light, our youth artist activist program, paying Chicago youth, 14 to 20-year-olds, $18 an hour to write, rehearse, train, and perform around performances and content and conversations that inspire social change. So we'll be auditioning February 27th, March 2nd, 5th, and 9th at places like the Gary Comer Youth Center in South Shore and the K. Ryan Center for the Arts in Austin and Shy Arts. What's the official name of Shy Arts?
Shy Arts.
The Chicago Academy for Performing Arts? No,
that's the one on Chicago.
Shy Arts, the high school in the Ukrainian Village, and the Kimball Arts Center. So if you are or you know of any special youth talent that want to share their vision and their heart for making Chicago a better, more equitable place, have them go to collaboration.org and sign up to audition for The Light.
And if you are one of our frequent listeners, you have heard The Light perform. You've heard some of our Light youth perform on this very show. Sanaya Salam was here with me one day, and Martine Rogers Green. So if you want to go check out on Spotify or wherever you get your podcast, there we have those shows recorded so you can know what our youth do on a regular basis with us when we are teaching them how to take their naturally given gifts and use them for the greater good.
And you can go to our YouTube where we have some 400 videos, smash the subscribe button, and check out a playlist for the youth, a playlist for Collaboration Radio. This is our 33rd show.
33.
Magic geometry.
Collaboration Radio is sponsored by the Joseph and Bessie Feinberg Foundation and donors and members like you. Yes, you. You can email radio@collaboration.org or go to our website, www.collaboration.org, to learn more. We are also, today's episode of Collaboration Radio is sponsored by AV Chicago, Chicago's leading provider of AV production and event management services, and Ethos Collective. Ethos Event Collective is a purpose-driven destination and event management company that seeks to become a trusted, strategic ally to your business as they create authentic experiences that align with your goals, delight your audiences, and generate impactful outcomes. www.ethoseventcollective.com is where you can find them.
That's what they do. And you too can be a sponsor of Collaboration Radio here on WCPT, broadcasting live to the third largest radio market in the United States. And then after the fact, we're getting like almost 5,000 downloads a month on YouTube, SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. We would love to be your partner and have some ads and sponsorships. Email info@collaboration.org for your 13-week package. Carla and I are amateur Foley artists, and we're working towards a Foley career, and this is what I call man walking up the stairs and opening the door.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord.
And scene.
Snaps all the way around.
Oh, wow.
So here's what I want to get into today, because Anthony gave you so much, and I hate to interrupt. But
it's our 33rd show. I thought maybe I would finally loosen up a little bit. Henry doesn't know how weird. He just thinks I'm all dad jokes. But on the other side of that coin is more dad jokes.
I have said, and I will stand by this, that Anthony Mosley is made of 48% corn. And
what else? What else?
And the rest ham. Corn and ham. That's what you're made of.
Yeah, that is pretty. There's a little cheese in there. It's the cheese is the mortar of the between the bricks in the house. That is my life. And actually, my daughter asked me what art was, and I told her art is a fart that doesn't give an F.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't know if any of us would have gotten farther in our day without that wisdom.
It was our destiny, and I would apologize. But this is this is the multiverse we are in, people. Thank you for listening to Collaboraction Radio on this beautiful Saturday. We're having a little fun. Sorry, excuse us for being light.
Having fun, all that laughing and smiling.
Okay, let's talk about some unfun things. What's going on in the world of politics, Carla? If you are a rabid listener to WCPT, we just want this hour to be a little break from the Tucker Carlson Putin interview, because I know it's fascinating. And we're more like the Shay Shay. We're like the Club Shay Shay of WCPT. Carla, will you break down for the white people that don't understand things what happened on Club Shay Shay with Monique?
Well, here's the thing. Black Hollywood is a stir. Shannon Sharp, who most of you know for his stellar career in football, has now become the most salacious talk show host in the internet. So Shannon is out here interviewing folks like Cat Williams and Monique, the comedians, and they are telling all the business. So she told a lot of business, and you should, if you want to entertain yourself after this hour, not before, not now, but after, take yourselves to YouTube. Why are those eyes looking at me now? You helped? Oh, God, but now it's creepy. Don't move it. Don't move it. It's fine. I'll just deal with it. The creepy. You have to come see, though, how it looks. So anyway, if you want to entertain yourselves, please go to YouTube. And Henry is trying to stop some creepiness from happening. Oh, and
here's Henry. If you haven't seen, he's never been on this side of the camera. Look at him. He's so cute. He covers his mouth when he laughs. I'm the opposite. I just look at the food I'm still chewing.
So,
anyways, you were saying.
So, no, I was just saying, go to Shannon Sharp's YouTube page if you want to get acquainted with all of the hot gossip and things that have gotten Monique back in trouble with Oprah Winfrey. It's like, this is pandemonium during Black History Month. We are all just, we're wrapped up in the black drama of Hollywood. So Black Hollywood has run amok.
And is it true that Monique and Kat are doing a tour together?
I don't know if that. I
saw Monique and her husband, also known as Daddy.
Yes.
After they went back after DL, they announced that Kat and so who should be, other than you, which
yes.
You are the one. But other than you, who should be the next guest? If you're the producer of Club Shay Shay, who's the next guest on Club Shay?
Tyler Perry has to go. Like, this is, it was a challenge. So Monique apparently sent Shannon Sharp an email, a voicemail, that got to Tyler Perry, and Tyler's not telling the truth. And so Shannon Sharp looked in the camera and was like, Tyler, you should come interview with me. so we can hear your side. So that is what I'm looking for.
And not only is Shannon Sharpe a Hall of Fame football player with like just biceps from the heavens, but he is a really great host.
He is. He's super smart and super fun to listen to.
And if you didn't hear about this, Brandon Marshall, former Bears wide receiver, was asked who was the worst quarterback he ever played with, and he's played with 17 NFL quarterbacks. And do you know who he said the worst one was?
Who?
Jay Cutler.
And yes, because Jay Cutler is one of the worst people. Sorry, Chicago, if you were a fan. So let's get to this thing that I want to talk about because I'm so excited. Very rarely do you get to do work for 14 years with your friends. So actually about 15 plus years ago, I met this guy, this poet on tour named Orron Kenyetta Marshall. And he did this poem called Tad Brown on the Door of Lunacy. It was like this epic, like 8-page, like portrait of his life. And after I heard him do it, I was like, can we talk? Can we talk about me adapting this work? And he was like, yep. So we wrote a play called Tad in Fifth City that was produced in 2010 and with Impact Theater, and we've been talking about it a few weeks now. We got a nice little article in American Theater magazine, so if you're a subscriber, if you get your hands on that, you should go read about Tad in Fifth City. But and we got a nice review in the Reader too. But the show is running now, and it's been remounted by Impact Theater. And I have asked my writing partner and my dear friend Orron to give us a call and to talk a little bit about his life in Fifth City, why this poetry exist, and so we can talk a little bit to get y'all prepared, because you all need to come see the show. I'm just saying. So without further ado, I would like to invite my friend calling from Maui, who's a hater. I'm a hater. Orron Kenyetta Marshall. Hello.
Assalam aloha.
Aloha assalam. How are you?
Good to hear your voices. I'm well. I'm still on cloud 9 from the opening of the show on the 28th over there at the Great House. You know, what can I say? Living my best life inside my own mind. That's where it's safe.
Well, I'm so glad you could make it on here with my other theater family, Collaboration. You and I know my Impact family very well, but welcome to this side of this other side of the game here with on Collaboration Radio.
Aloha, Orron. Great to meet you. Anthony Mosley here. Welcome to the Collaboration side of the coin.
Thank you, my brother. Pleasure to meet you too. I can't wait to lay eyes on you. I've heard about you.
Likewise. And you know, I there's a farm I've been helping out in Maui called Hua Momona on the west side of the island near Lahaina. It's in Lahaina.
I know the farm. A friend of mine is his name Chialoha. That's one of the brothers. He's been very key since that fire here. That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. Yeah,
they're feeding 3,500. They're doing 3,500 meals a week out there, and I hosted their fundraiser last year. And as you know, there's a lot more work to do. 6 months now since the fire, there's still 5,000 people without homes, and so this is just the first time for you and I.
Absolutely, brother. Well, the next time you're on this island, I know you're gonna have my number by the time we get off this show. Be sure to reach out to me. Let me show you around my new home. I mean, this Maui Island, it's a wonderful place. And to that point, I would be remiss if I didn't give this one truth about Lahaina. As I was coming back in from the opening of the show on a flight from Las Vegas, I sat next to some folk who were planning out what they were going to do when they got to the island, and there are some things that people are not being told, right? And it's kind of like, think of Jackson, Mississippi, or Flint, Michigan. That lahaina is hypertoxic. Hypertoxic. There's small facts that you just have to consider. Lahaina in particular was the leader in solar stuff in all of America. There were more solar batteries out there, more solar cars than anywhere else of one little area like that on the planet. All of that was reduced with fires that got up to 1,500 degrees and blew on stuff for 2 hours straight. If you recall the footage that you saw of Front Street, where you saw it's one picture about 7 Teslas that stuck on Front Street that burned all the way down to the frame, the batteries are gone. But it's a dangerous place.
Wow.
You just have to be aware of that. Just don't take once you get this information, just go look it up. There are some fortunate people in Lahaina who have taken their fortunes and had people come in to do the testing of the soil, the air, and the water, and it's not good, brother. And sister, it's not good. So that's just my duty as an activist, to put out there what I know.
And that is why you're on today, and that is why I wanted you to be a guest, because before your life in Maui, you had an amazing journey here in Chicago. I ask everybody this. I'm going to ask you, what's your superhero origin story? What's your Marvel story? How did you get to where you are and the artist that you've grown into?
So, somewhere between my last book, the title of my last book, and the title of my upcoming book, the last book was Outlasting Denial. The new book is called Defective Self. That has been something I've had to contend with as a Chicagoan. That I still struggle with it. So my story is I've always been able to see light at the end of the tunnel. I've never been desperate. I've never felt desperation, and in so doing, I've never bought the narrative of my course. And for me, if I had to say I had one success, and that my success has been not having my narrative dictated to me.
Tell me about Fifth City.
And that's kind of Fifth City.
Because you know that there are people, many Chicagoans don't know the names of neighborhoods. You know, so let's talk about Fifth City.
Let me explain Fifth City. So first of all, there's a paper that was published in 1963 when the community known as Fifth City started. That anybody can find it, and it will blow your mind. It's called the Fifth City Presupposition. Someone wrote it in '63. I know who someone is, but I want people to do their own research. Wrote this in '63, and when you look at it, what you're going to look at is the precursor to the Black Panthers. You're going to see it's exactly the same program, but it wasn't black at all. Fifth City was created as a model, and it was a successful model if you go and look at the research, because several universities followed the development of it all the way up until 1978, which was where I placed. That's the year that Tad and Fifth City takes place, and that was when that was at in my mind, and from my memory, that was the deconstruction of something beautiful. The Fifth City Project was launched in South America, and they got the same result that they got on the west side of Chicago: a productive, self-providing community. They ran the same program, the Fifth City Project. They ran it in a place in Eastern Europe. Got the same results. The concept of Fifth City shouldn't be a big struggle, because we all know I'm an alumni of Second City, the comedy place. The concept of Fifth City is, you got the first world, then you got Second City, then you got third world, and I don't ever deal with four corner hustlers, so I don't deal with the four. But the five means, that's a joke, Carl. The five means the five is a symbol of rebirth, and I'll tell you, there's a place called MediaDump.org If you go to MediaDump.org and type in Fifth City, it's going to blow your mind. You're going to see some footage where Oprah Winfrey did a news story called the Fifth City Iron Man. And that is something that is my superhero. It still stands there on the intersection of Jackson and Holman and Fifth Avenue where those streets cross each other. And it's probably a 10-foot tall cast iron sculpture of a man standing palms up. And the reason I'm telling you this, there's a lot of correlation. I unapologetically I refer to myself as a vice lord. I'm not concerned with what vice lord is becoming other people's mind or what their narrative on it is. I know what it is. And when you and what it means just to take control of your own situation. And I'm telling you guys, there's something magical on the planet. Just altogether, that's just the presence of God. But Fifth City is a little bit different. There's this footage of Harold Washington standing in front of this statue up at Fifth City in 1983, right after he had come into office. That would have been my freshman and sophomore year at Lane Tech. And I don't want to get too long and drawn out with it, but when Harold Washington came to power, I got a chance to experience segregation. When he was running for office, I lived on the west side by Rockwell Projects, and I had to ride that Western bus all the way down to Addison. And every sad story that we had heard from the civil rights struggle and all of this, we experienced it over the course of that election when Harold was first running against Jane Byrne and Bernie Epton. Mm-hmm. Also, it made me see the most beautiful thing about Chicago, about the planet. In spite of the chaos, in spite of the separation, I was always protected. There's always enough good people in a community to stop dumb shit. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that or not, but to stop that. And it's the only reason I don't pray for the fall of Chicago, because there are good people who keep it, you know, the way that it's meant to be, more of a collective. I'm not even troubled by the separation. I don't like to mix all my food up on one plate. But persecution should not go hand in hand with being separated. It's a Chicago phenomenon. I didn't notice it first. Dr. King noticed it first when he came in '66. He said he never saw that kind of segregation in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
No. Chicago is truly the most segregated place in the city, and not in the country.
Not only that, he said he had not seen the vitriol as well of the you know, and people don't realize this. There were white men in white tank tops with pitchforks running down the street to harass Dr. Martin Luther King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the most profound during that march, we're talking Marquette Park, right?
Yep.
So there's some footage where I've seen Dr. King shaken but not stirred. Right. They took him away into this car, and Dr. King is he's like, man, they were in trees with guns. I don't know if you guys remember that. The pitchforks are right. Dr. King saw men in trees with guns. That's when they put him in the car.
Well, and he was hit in the head with a brick.
Absolutely. And we're pretty sure that wasn't Jay Cutler that threw that either.
Because
it wouldn't have hit him.
Because it hit him.
Well, and that's the thing, you know, about Chicago. We have this, you know, covert racism, which, you know, is like, I love you, but you can't marry my son. And Collaboration's all about dismantling those systems. And I love what you said about you wouldn't let anybody else write your story. Can you talk about how your approach to manifesting and maybe give us a couple examples?
Absolutely. Carla was talking, and she brought something that probably the most important thing that my people taught me was to not be ashamed of things that you can't control. Mm-hmm. And most of the time, that's why people can't tell their story. They want to hold something back. We know scientifically, the research shows men are not likely to tell you about being raped. That's that precludes so much healing. So much healing is why I get frustrated with most people, instead of remedying a perversion that they can actually remedy. It's right in your house. They'll walk past that and go to R. Kelly trial to get some fulfillment. He on trial. That's working itself out. We have to attack correct the mistakes in our own life. It's a lot of different axioms. Like I said, there's a speck in your eye, or the beam in somebody else's eye. It's just something that's haunted us. That's how racism can exist. Racism exists because it gives people an easy out. It gives people an easy out. You got a ready-made argument. You got some ready-made reasons for why that happened, and you just go with that. So for me, there's a poem I wrote called "Pondering Monsters." It was a precursor to TAB. It's what freed me up to speak freely about that. I don't want to discuss that my mama was an alcoholic, just naturally. But I know in order to solve that problem, I have to. I don't want to talk about my father using heroin. But if I'm going to solve a problem, I have to. And for me, the writers that influenced me, my greatest influence as a poet, just make a lot of black people mad, is Allen Ginsberg. His courage, outside of just on paper, but when he put it on paper in a time much like the one I live in, where censorship was a muck, where they were locking folks up for just telling you the truth what happened in their life. So I appreciate the Beat generation, and specifically Allen Ginsberg for, exercising the freedom that made me free to be free.
Oh, I was going to see if it was okay with you to ask you to share one of your works with us right now, and then we can kind of talk about it on the back end, if that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, because I think your work says a whole different thing.
Right on. And you're probably right. I got several personalities. My Muslim name is Sybil X. So I'm going to do this piece. I guess this will be a great explanation of some of the stuff y'all already answered. I'm glad you let me answer in poetry. This piece is called My History of God. My History of God. Wasting away the light of day right here in the land of Nod. Now do I dare with the healer's care to find my history of God. This ultimate being who was all-knowing and seeing, and he would love me whether I was good or bad. I crawled at his feet, humble and meek. God's history started with my dad. Because relative to me, omnipotent was he, my creator, my protector, and my provider. And I too held above and worship and love my mother, Father God's rider. But in the back of my mind was this need to find perfection in the identity of truth. So through close introspect, in my youth, I could detect flaws, my God's disproof. Now, my gods had come to be as it was relative to me, very selfish, very weak, and very untrue. My gods practiced sin, and it manifested in failure and all they tried to do. I remember all the mama don'ts, the no he won'ts, the would-be's, the could-be's, and the baby I hopes. I remember lightless nights and hunger frights and what we did to cope. I remember God seeking God and God avoiding God. I remember God crying to God and then God lying to God. I even one time saw God in a dope fading nod. I remember God when he left, and I remember God when she died. So for a time, and for me, God was dead and gone. Imagine, if you will, the effects of the still when a ship called God subsides. You'll be subjugated to the current's relentless torment to your body and the soul inside. But I find land before long as I was beckoned by this song that cried out from whence my gods came. Some perfection of truth was planted for my flute, and grandmama was her name. It's theologically speculative and culturally relative, but I know my grandmama walked and my grandmama talked with Jesus. And as he was in she was in me. And to my thirst for God, for a while this pleases. But as my schooling went along, through example and song, I would learn the ins and the outs of existence. I watched forgiveness and love as it could not rise above an active and cultivated resistance. Because in my family, unconditional love was traditionally snubbed when this God sat to sup with her fruit. I watched this all-forgiving she, as it was relative to me, quickly contradict her truth. I remember God frowning at God and subconsciously drowning God, lashing God and bashing God. I remember God when she buried God. I watched God's fake-ass sobs that emotionally robbed me of my right to be. So I jumped from this ship called the living dead crypt, and I let the currents of life guide me to land from Nod, Vice Lord, to land from Nod, Army, to land from Nod, College, to land from Nod, Wife, to land from Nod, children, to land from Nod. This is my history of God. That's that piece.
Whew.
Snaps.
Snaps all around.
Wow.
I appreciate y'all.
If you'd like to call in to talk to Orron or join us here on Collaboration Radio, you can do that by calling 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278. And if you just heard, in your car or sitting in your sunroom and you just heard that piece of poetry, you know, that also was God talking to you and all of us. Thank you so much for sharing that. Give us a little, tell us about where that one came from.
So, I tell you, it's one of, I guess my biggest struggle right now is that is my inheritance, that awareness of the godlike perception of a man in a household is necessary. When I was a kid, I distinctly remember it. Every kid, when I was in kindergarten, thought that their dad was the strongest, baddest dude that ever walked the planet. Every one of them. That was a common thing, and just in a short period of time, I went from being that kid. I'm a grandfather now, but that's gone. And you know, it's in the reasoning for the reasons for its absence. They don't correlate with me. I hear like when I get the pushback from it as I try to reinstall that, and I'm not pointing out to social media or things in the world. I make my assessments from right in my house. I don't like my worst critics are my siblings. My greatest underminers are right in my family. They train me for the world I have to go out into. But for me, that I had to make that statement because I saw that image is fast disappearing. I have a young lady who came out to the play on opening night. Caller, her name she became a friend of mine because she has my mother's name, Rose Marshall. After she saw the play, she went in. She's a family therapist, and she went back. She had a group of 10 black families somewhere on the west side she's working with. And so as an exercise, she gave this archetype. She said, okay, let's talk about what a single black male parent looks like. And all of those black folk in there told her that was a fallacy, that they've never seen it. Never seen it. Shocking. I made a social media post about it. She sent it to me. I put it up on Facebook or something. But it's mind-blowing. I have another friend who's a professor at Cal State LA. He gave an assignment at the end of last semester where he teaches research methods. he gave this class, he gave them this research. And so the researcher told you who they researched. It said, well, we're doing research on single-parent households. Then they show you the 10 households that are in this research. All of them are headed by females. So he saw it clearly. He asked the class, do you see anything wrong or anything flawed in the research? They look down at it, they look over it, and this is graduate level research methods class. At the end of they about to graduate, right? So they look and they say, no, what? So he says, you don't think that the information should be more varied? Don't you think they should have found some men? And then they go, oh, yeah. But then that was it. That was it. That's, it's like now it's things that have traditionally been something to fight for me. It's just like now if you're lucky, you'll get some shrugged shoulders. So my history of God was just an anthem to the world that I know and the way I believe that we're going to be successful in it. At the very least, I can say that this shit worked for me. And I don't know, and that's the thing. That's the requirement of people often give advice on shit they haven't tried yet. It didn't work for them.
So
it didn't work for them.
No.
You're gonna tell me to do it? Go ahead.
No. So here's the thing. I'm listening to this poem that I've heard because we've been working together for a while, and this is what I want you to speak to, because we've talked about this many times over the years. I was nervous about remounting Tad in Fifth City because I was nervous about this new culture of trauma porn. This idea that telling certain types of black stories is too traumatic for the black audience to digest, and too traumatic for white audiences to digest. So we need to be careful about what stories we tell, as per not to traumatize anyone else. But one of the things you and I bonded over was being these highly functional, acceptable black folks in the world that were both raised by alcoholics and people that did hard drugs, and folks who may or may not have been on one side of the law or another. My cousins were gang affiliated on the other side of the spectrum.
Right.
So we bonded because here we were, these people who had, for all intents and purposes, found what the Cosby had been searching for, which is respectability. But we
right. First of all, we got to act like we don't know who Quentin Tarantino is. Right? That's my first thing. Whenever people get to telling me about the N-word and the use of it, sister, if I was prepared, if we suffered the accusation of trauma porn for presenting Tad in Fifth City, it would have been the perfect time for me to say, oh, so you do admit that Chicago traumatized black people.
Finally. Get that on record.
So, absolutely. You admit it. I mean, sister, when you, as I have, I'm a military veteran. And, I'm an activist, and I'm aware of certain things. Are you guys aware that the average person in a so-called hood in Chicago has got a 93% chance of having PTSD just because of normal day-to-day life? So anybody consider when you got them blue lights, these are things that I observe and I talk about in my poetry. The old Mayor Daley, the one that died in 76, I think it was, Jay Daley, was it?
Yeah.
He made people said it was a Freudian slip, but I said it was a direct order. He was in a statement answering some questions. He said, Chicago police are here to maintain disorder. And he would come back a week later and correct it. But, sister, I wish they would have called it trauma porn. I wish that accusation would have been launched, because it's the perfect example to say you do admit that this city traumatizes black folks. But it was so far from that. It was I was really impressed with the review in American Theater. First, that doesn't happen for me very often. Where people, she was like, "This is a lived experience. There's no way around it." And unfortunately, I've got a built-in resistance because we are in an era of revision. Mm-hmm. We have seen it before, and I'm not going to help you change history. Especially after I took my clothes off and buried myself. So yeah, we missed an opportunity with the trauma porn accusation card. It was a real opportunity there. The real opportunity for change.
I was waiting for it. So last thing before you go, do you have one more in you?
Sure. You got any? Sure, I got one. I'm going to do Blackwater for you.
Okay.
That's okay, Carl?
That's perfect.
Okay, and we did talk about Blackwater. Blackwater, just real quick, Blackwater Missionary Baptist Church was a church that my grandfather brought from Mississippi in 1919, brought it to Chicago. And right around the time that Dr. King and the Civil Rights Movement started, that first Mayor Daley, most people don't know, black preachers protested Dr. King coming to Chicago.
Yep.
Dr. King was brought to Chicago by the Catholics and the Jews. Black people opposed him. My grandfather was one that did not. And his church was closed down for it. It was called Blackwater Missionary Baptist Church. Here's the piece. When the precept of infinity meets the essence of all and none, there's the birth child of antiquity from whence we all have come. Blackwater. But the sons and daughters of strong Blackwater scream loud from the pews. Then they line up for slaughter. Always saying and always praying, but when black rain comes, they'll all be playing, asking, what is Blackwater? The essence of all and none. Fools think Blackwater can take you high, so they line up and they beg for some. But Blackwater transcends the perception of men. It's as cold as nitro, surpassing sun-core singe. And what should be known to the sons and the daughters is the element of fire that dwells in Blackwater, that fiendishly feeds on stones and men. Not even smoke escapes. It too burns within. The essence of all and nothing, strong black water that flourishes and revokes his own sons and daughters, because the Blackwater were to come and to sit and to sup. Fools caught at play would surely say, remove from me this bitter cup. I one time said it to my father. He sipped coffee all day long. When we sat to sup, I snuck a sip from his cup, and I said, Daddy, your Blackwater too strong. But he got new life from drinking Blackwater in a cup, and so did my mother, and we too sat to sup. Her water was cold with an effervescent trickle, and as we sit in repose, my nose would be tickled. She found rebirth in her Blackwater brew. Royal Crown and Crown Royal are combinations of the two, because she thought she knew Blackwater can take me high. My glorified grandmama, she absconded from the pub, but she mixed dry black powder with proud black spit and spat Blackwater in the cup. She liked to dip snuff, because too she thought she knew Blackwater's going to take me high. Bubbling Blackwater drove my uncle insane. He boiled his water in a spoon, and then he shot it up in his veins, because too he thought he knew Blackwater's going to take me high. Everybody pointed fingers, but they couldn't see what was really wrong, because everybody was distracted by the sun. Peace and be still and see the obnoxious ambience of the sun on your psyche, where deceitful rays dance through airborne haze, and fools think that it might be God. It's so beautiful, it might be God. It's so bright, it might be God. It's damn near white. It might be God, but this is obnoxious. A dim and dying sun as a God is preposterous. You must peace and be still and see this morning star, cast down bearer of light. An inferior inferno who knows not rest or night, but this outcast will mask his suffering with 7 dimensions of light. Look at my rainbow. Ain't it pretty? The earth should reject its rainbows with rotations into night, because the earth keeps turning while the sun keeps burning, because the sun is yearning to be free, like man, like earth, like me, like M.E. The sun wants to be free, like me, like M.E., like mysterious ether, like me, like M.E., like mountains elevated, like me, like M.E., like molehills exploding, like me, like a melanated elixir that moves from your mouth to your ear. Peace and be still that you might hear the silent screams of the solaric simpleton causing you to stare at him. Look at my rainbow. Ain't it pretty? Peace and be still and see the sun in Blackwater. That's that piece.
Thank you.
Wow.
You guys are welcome. And right now, tourists have stopped and they're gathered around my car. I'm sitting in the library parking lot down by Cam. How you guys? Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen.
While you out here doing
They started gathering around you, huh? Well, tell
they're
them.
in a white Denali. If something happens to me, they're in a white Denali. The license plate. No, I'm just joking. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to go to TAD in Fifth City on February 15th. Our listeners can join me and Carla. We're going to have a pre-show hang and a post-show crucial conversation. And if you use the discount code Carla, all caps, CARLA, you can get $10 off. We hope to see you. If you liked what you just heard from Orron, then we're going to go into Orron and Carla's world on February 15th.
It's crazy.
Right on. And send all donations to P.O. Box number. I'm just joking.
All right, thank you so much for calling and spending this time with us, and I'll be talking to you soon.
Great to meet you, brother.
Right,
Thank you.
Stay strong, Chicago.
Bye.
Carla said I would like Orron, and she knows what I like. I wish he was in the studio.
Yeah, he was supposed to be here with us. He had a family emergency. He had to get back to the island. But he spends a lot of time here in the Chi because we're still here, his artistic family and his real family. So we will be seeing him soon. But yes, so if you are in Lincoln Park anytime before March 3rd on a Thursday through a Saturday, you can go to the Greenhouse Theater Center, 2257 North Lincoln Avenue, where you will be able to see TAD in Fifth City, produced by Impact Theater, which is in their 32nd year and of production. So, it's a bunch of theaters that have been around in Chicago for a really long time and are not the big guys, but they're doing amazing new work like Collaboration and Impact. So that's that.
I have another little plug in the theater world. Our friends over at Non-Op Open Opera Works are presenting the commission responses to the Gettysburg Address. And Collaboration Company member Willie Prince Rock Round, Cal Razen, AJ McLennan, and Janelle Davenport Pleasure are all in that piece. There's two shows. One's February 17th at 7 p.m. at the Riva and David Logan Center for the Arts Penthouse, and then March 10th, 7:30 at Epiphany Center for the Arts. You can go to nonopera.org to get your tickets. And then, and that's Willie Round, that's double Emmy winner Willie Prince Rock Round. And I also wanted to make sure people knew that we have an amazing guest next week, who herself is quite a manifester of change. Tanika Lewis-Johnson will be joining us in the studio, the creator of the Folded Map Project and the Contract House Project. Have you heard what she's doing?
Loosely.
She's raised the money to basically fix up the homes on one block on the south side in Englewood as an act of reparations.
That is a lot of celebrities are starting to do the same thing. Is it Mike Epps just did it in his hometown? He bought a block and restored all the houses.
Well, Tanika will be in here. She's a photographer and really a social justice artist, and we're excited to have her. And then we'll have DJ Lady D on February 24th. And if you want to look back and go to our podcasts, we've had some great shows lately. David Cherry, Vasile, Pugs Adams. And the Insurrection 30th anniversary was a really great show.
That was a good show. Oh, yeah. But thank you all so much.
Yes.
For joining us again. Please come back the same bat time, same back channel next Saturday at
4 o'clock. And if you want to support Collaboration Radio, you can become a member of Collaboration or a Collaborativist for as little as $1 a month to keep shows like this running. Or you can make a donation.
Become an activist.
Of up to $1 trillion.
1 trillion bones.
We prefer cash or dimes to be specific, so I could drop them. Go, Carla.
Dropping dimes? No, we don't do that here in the Shy. We just give out peace and tranquility.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my teal. No, this is just blue. But I have a teal purse, and that's tranquility too.
Yeah. Thank you for joining.
The preceding program, Collaboration Radio.